Hi, this is Rochelle Noble from Microschool Solutions. If you're getting this, you either joined or signed up for our Microschool Solutions Founders Circle info session that happened on Friday, March 22nd. And unfortunately, I did not press record until about halfway through. So this is a re-record for those of you that missed that time. Sadly, you won't get the interactions of the other people on the call, which were really beautiful. I might find a way to sort of like bring those things together. So if you see all of a sudden it becomes people involved, that's why you'll know that I was able to splice that. If not, you just get me. But I'm really excited to share this, and I want to get this recorded right away so I can get this information to you because today is a big day for us. I'm actually going to share my screen and hold on. Like I said, this is the Founders Circle for 2024, and I'll get into all of the information about that. But I want you to know, first of all, kind of our origin story. I'm Rochelle. This is Tom and Lorian, and I discovered microschools in the end of 2018, late fall 2018, and then that it started working for a microschool company, and that January had the opportunity to sub for a maternity leave and with fifth and sixth grade boys. And it was like, so that's when I started using the word magic when I talked about microschools. It was the most magical experience that I'd ever had in an education environment. And I've been in lots and lots of education environments, my own and as a teacher in private, public, and charter environments. And I just saw the possibility of this all being very different for kids and the experience they could have, and for adults. Because a lot of times, like we don't worry about kids enough, one, but also the adults were just like, yep, they're just going to do the things we ask them. And so this opportunity to do something different, and I'll talk more about that as we go. I helped Tom and Lorian both start Microschools in fall of 2019, and they are masterful. And they then started working for the same microschool company I was working for, and helped lots and lots and lots of other people start microschools, and just have had this really incredible opportunity to work together. So February of 2023, I decided to start this company. I had recently gotten divorced, and I decided to invest my divorce settlement in creating a company to help people. And the thing that mattered the most to us was we felt like there are lots and lots of people out there, and you might be one of them, who have a vision for what they want their micro school to be, but they don't know how to do all the pieces. Our job is to bring your vision to life. This isn't about what we think should be happening. This is really about you and your vision being delivered and us helping you get there. So that was our purpose in starting this company. And we're now over a year in. We'll talk about some of the people we've helped and what we're doing now, but that's where we came from, and that's why we started this. All of us are very passionate about, that might be obvious, about microschools and the people that are running them. We get very invested very, very quickly in the people who we're supporting. So want to know want you to know where we come from as an organization. Okay, I want to talk for those of you that are like, I don't even know what a microschool is, or I don't know exactly what a microschool is. You may still not know exactly what a microschool is, because really it's not a clearly defined word. And there are lots of so because of that, there are lots of different definitions. Some people will say it's any educational environment that has fewer than 150 students. So we feel really strongly about three elements that create very, very successful microschools if they have these three elements. And so that's kind of where we focus on our definition of what a microschool is. This is agnostic of space. You could have your microschool in a forest, in a library, in your house, in your friend's house, in a dance studio, in a space that you're renting, in a house that you're renting. There's kind of like a limitless number of places that this can happen. And literally forests are one of the possibilities, or parks and things like that. So just know this is agnostic of space. But I want to talk about why these three things are what matter most, and not really in an order because they all matter probably equally. The first is the student to teacher ratio. We believe really strongly that it shouldn't be more than 10 to 1. And the reason for that is, I mean, you might be a certified educator who's like, I've had a classroom with 30 kids. And that's true. One thing I will say is if you are a traditional educator, if you've educated in the traditional environment, and the way I define that is one teacher to 20 to 30 kids teaching essentially the same thing to all those kids at the same time. That's kind of how I'm defining the traditional environment. If you've come from that, there's a really good chance that you'll need some time to do some deschooling, not unschooling, because that's a thing, but just like rolling back out of what you had to do to manage your classrooms and things like that. Kids need the same thing. They've been told what to do all along. And if they're going to be in a place where they get to make some choices, that's going to be really jarring for them. It's exciting and jarring at the same time. It's terrifying, I think. And so this might be terrifying for you too, because you'll be making your own decisions and not having it come in a top-down way. So the reason the student to teacher ratio matters so much is that the magic, again, we talk about magic a lot. The magic of a micro school is maximized when the adult in the room can have an individual relationship with every child in the room. And for a lot of people, that may be, so we say 1 to 10, but it might be that it's 8 kids for you. And for a very small percentage, we've seen people be able to do this with 12 kids. But somewhere in that range of probably 8 to 12. And it also depends on the students you have. But once you tip over your capacity to create an individual relationship with each of those children, you have to manage them as a herd. And some of the magic is lost because it's that being individual and you being with them that makes it so magical. Them really knowing that they are an individual and they have a voice. So that's all I'll say about that. It's probably more than enough, but 10 to 1 is the ratio. Individualized learning, we talk about a lot. If you have, and what we mean by that is that every student is learning exactly where they are, which is the only way that it's actually learning, because it's not learning if they already know it or if it's way ahead of their ability. And so being able to say, I am a 5th grader and I'm capable of 7th grade math, I'm going to get to do that. Or I'm a 5th grader and I have gaps back to 3rd grade math because I wasn't given the tools that I need to have this skill set. And so we call it a learning frontier. That's one of the ways we talk about that. And having each child on their learning frontier in the different subjects that they're working in really makes them excited, because if you've already learned it, it's boring. And if you don't have enough information to learn it, it's boring. And those are when we do that to students, they lose interest and they think they don't want to learn anymore because we've defined learning in this really specific way. We need to make it so they're actually learning, and that matters a lot. There's a friend of mine that I work with that he's done a lot of research in math classrooms in Indiana, and 5th grade math class, rural Indiana, a 9 grade range of ability. So in the same classroom, same ages, you have kindergarten level students and algebra ready level students. And it's like, how do you meet the needs of anybody in that room? And that's why this needs to be individualized, because then you can meet the needs of everybody. And that's why the ratios matter. So these all play into each other. The last thing I want to talk about is emotional safety. This is a critical piece, and not as like, I don't know how else to say this. Some people are like, this is very woo-woo, this emotional safety. This isn't something we've been talking about in the past when it comes to school. But what I'm going to tell you, and what you may already know, is there's a lot of brain science that tells us that a brain that is in survival mode cannot access the part that learns. We send so many students into school and they are in survival mode, particularly kids of color and lots of other kids, where we're asking them to learn. We've put them in an environment where they don't feel safe for a variety of reasons, and then we're critical of them for not learning in that. We've given them an impossible task, and then we hold them responsible for not doing it. If we focus on emotional safety, if that is primary for us, and when I talk about that, it's about a student being able to be the person they are, being loved and accepted for the person they are. If that person can come in, the byproduct will be academic progress. Like, that's what's going to happen. They will learn. If they're emotionally safe, they will learn. they may have things that slow them down, like dyslexia, or there may be things that get in their way, but it won't be because they aren't capable of accessing the part of their brain that learns. And so instead of making academic outcomes the priority or the goal, if emotional safety is the goal, then the academic outcomes show up in a really beautiful way and everyone feels enriched. So those are the three things that we feel like have the biggest impact on the success of a micro school. So what are the things you need to start a micro school? This is very basic. There's no rocket science here. You need a vision. If you're watching this call, you probably have one. You probably have a vision. There's a reason you signed up for this, because you've either been a teacher or you've been a homeschool mom, or there's something that drove you to say, I'm going to watch this thing about maybe starting my own school. So vision, you need a place to have it. Like I said, it could be anywhere. And I mean, literally anywhere. Ideal, you have bathrooms, it's safe. Those are some of the like major characteristics. You need students. You need an adult in the room. And I say this because some people want to start a micro school, but they don't want to be the one that's working with the kids. They have the vision for the bigger picture and they want to create this space. So whether you are the adult in the room or you're going to be hiring the adults in the room, that's a piece you really need. And I will say that once you have those three pieces we talked about on the last slide, the next most important thing is the efficacy of the adult in the room. It's more important than the space. It's more important than what they're learning. It is what matters the most. And then the last thing you need, at least in our very condensed list, is what they're learning and how they're learning it. And I say this this way instead of using the word curriculum, because when I say curriculum, it's really easy to narrow to like a textbook or an online tool or something like that. And I want you to think about this more broadly than that. What is your learning philosophy? We're really big fans of student-directed learning and project-based learning. Those are two things we really love. Some people are really excited about classical learning. There's all these, and it may be that you have, that you in your mind, it's a hybrid of learning, like it doesn't have a name, but it's a hybrid of things that you know about. It may have some Montessori elements. It may have some Sudbury elements. It may have some classical elements. And you just say, this is what I want them to learn, and this is how I want them to learn it. And the reason you need to know that first is that then helps you figure out what that's going to look like. Okay, so I want to talk about the kitchen sink. Whoa, I skipped a slide. This is sort of a working title. We were like, what do we call this program? And it's like, it's everything. It's everything a person needs to start a micro school. And you know, the old saying, like everything but the kitchen sink. So this is the whole package. We call it the kitchen sink. It may not stay its name, but it makes me laugh every time now. And this little tagline, your vision, our mission, that is back to what I was talking about earlier, that it's your vision that we want to help you bring to fruition. And that's really critical to us. So I want to talk about what this whole package, what it looks like when you're thinking about working with us to start a micro school. So we call it the Founders Circle. I don't know if I'm supposed to read when there's lots of words on a slide, but helps people like you turn their micro school dream into a reality. I guess if you're watching this on your phone, this might be helpful that I read it, because then you can see, or you can't see. We'll support you every step of your micro school journey, from starting and laying the foundation of your micro school to launching and sustaining. So I'm going to talk about those three things. So starting, laying the foundation, and then launching and sustaining. So this is sort of a list of the things that we do to support you. And in getting started, we start with a comprehensive checklist for starting a micro school with associated resources. These include templates, guides, best practices. Again, I recognize that I'm reading all these words and that might be distracting for some of you, but and the implementation of the checklist. One thing I will say though, is some people will weaponize a checklist against themselves. So we don't have, not everyone uses a checklist. So that's what I want you to feel, is there's a customization here of, if you're the kind of person that's very like well suited to a checklist, then we will provide you a checklist. If you're somebody who's paralyzed by a checklist or who weaponizes a checklist against yourself, we will not provide you a checklist. We will do this in a different way. And so I want you to know that there's this beautiful like way of getting you there that will align with the things that you need the most. Um, Comprehensive personal assessment and associated coaching and resources. And this is both you as a business owner and or you as the adult in the room. If you're both, then we need to look at your personal assessment, both from a business side and an educator side. And if you're one or the other, then we'll do that. And we'll give feedback, learning opportunities, and modules that will help kind of support you in getting to that place. One of my favorite things, we call it the Microschool blueprint. If you have any business background, and especially in startups, there's a tool called the Model Business Canvas, and we have customized that and call it the Microschool blueprint. And it's basically a one-page way to see all of the parts of your business and how they interact with each other. Tom does these calls. We do up to 3 coaching sessions, consulting sessions on this, expert guidance. And there's so many things that we talk about, like the design of your learning model, financial planning. If you're going to scale, if this is like you're doing this with you and 10 kids, or you want to have other people follow your model, things like that. There's so many things that the blueprint gives you. I will say, as I've watched lots of people go through the blueprint, there are 4 outcomes that I've seen consistently. One is, no matter how excited you are, you will be more excited. That happens when you spend time with Tom. Second is, you will know what you know. Third is, you will know what you don't know. And fourth is, you will know what to do next. And it's really, really powerful in just being able to go, oh, okay, this is where I am. These are the gaps. It's really beautiful. So that's in the getting started side of things. So as you're continuing to get ready to start your micro school, we have regular one-on-one coaching with all 3 of us. And we really, we don't have an agenda in these. You come to us and you say, and we've created a list of the things that we're each individually sort of the most capable of supporting in. We all can do all of the topics well, but some of us are like really good at specific things. And so we've created a list of that. So when you're like, I need help with this, it's like, okay, I'm going to talk to Lorian because that's on her list and that's where she is an expert. Brand development, including being able to articulate your vision and your values, is really, really important. And as we get going, we'll talk about why that matters so much in what's next, which is assistance and guiding in the recruitment process. You have to have your vision articulated to be able to communicate with parents. We have a lot of strategies to help you leverage the networks you already have. And if you don't already have a network, to find ways to get the word out about your school. And I love this, the best practices for building a diverse and inclusive community. We also do business coaching and support in running your micro school, financial planning, budgeting, all of that kind of stuff is included. So that's in the building a foundation part. Launching and sustaining your micro school. We continue to do this one-on-one coaching with the 3 of us, continue to help with brand development. And then I feel like some of these were doubled. I had to do a little like fixing of my slide deck. I had repeated some bullets. So in the launching, I apologize for that. In the launching and sustaining your micro school side of this, access to all of our learning modules, things like learning environment, learning model, your business, things as innovation is spelled wrong, in assessment and more, like how are you going to assess your students in a non-traditional way? Weekly cohort meetings with other microschool founders worldwide. These meetings are some of the things that are the most valuable in what we do, is bringing people who are in the same boat together on a weekly basis to talk about what they're doing. Let me talk about these other 2, and then I want to make a point. Webinars designed specifically for microschool operators, focused on a wide range of topics. So I talk about engaging students to increasing enrollment and revenue. We actually have one scheduled for April 5th, specifically for people to create additional programming that will both increase their revenue and help them recruit more students. And so we're doing one of those, a workshop on April 5th. So that's an example of kind of what we're doing there. And then parent resources to support parents in understanding who you are, what you're doing, and the ways that you're doing it. I want to say that For some people, the weekly meetings are the part that's the most valuable. For some people, the one-on-one coaching is the part that's most valuable. For some people, the checklist is the part that's most valuable. So what we've done here is create a system, and some people, it's all of it, that will help you in the way that you're most inclined to be helped and supported as we do this. So that's what the kitchen sink is about. We're opening the application. I happen to be recording this on March 25th. So today we're opening the application. There are limited spots. We're going to start this cohort on April 24th. So on Wednesdays from 4 to 6 Pacific, 7 to 9 Eastern. We needed to pick a time that could accommodate all of the time zones, at least reasonably. And so we can talk, if these times are a problem for you, just let me know. But that's the time that we'll have those. We want to support you for 18 weeks. And the reason that, and when I say support you, the support lasts longer than that, but very specifically in weekly cohort meetings and all these things we're doing, because we believe that getting you ready to start isn't enough. We need to actually get you started and then come back and help you adjust the things that you need to have adjusted once you're in the middle of it, because that's when things get real and you're like, oh, I didn't realize this, this, and this, and then we support you. So this very intense support lasts through August, and then we will continue to support, and I'll talk about that on the next slide. So there's 3 ways to pay us for this. We have an upfront payment option. It's pretty heavily discounted for those of you. We recognize that most people start opening microschools don't have a lot of capital. And if the capital they have, they need to be able to get things going. And so we want to create ways for people to pay us after they have started to create revenue, but also for somebody that does have capital and can have this discount. It's a $5,000 payment upfront for the entire program. And that includes 10 months of support. And then 2 delayed payments. One is you don't pay anything till after school starts. It's $750 a month for the first 10 months. And then you're done, and we support you through your first year of school. And the other one is a revenue share where where it's 10% of your gross revenue for your first 3 years. We offer a buyout in that. If you've created a very, very robust school and you're like, I've had what I need from you guys and I don't want to continue to do this for all 3 years, the support lasts for 3 years in that one. And everyone has a little bit different need. And some of these, like the bottom one is the one that has the least risk, because you don't actually pay us anything unless you make money. And we're really excited, and we don't care how you pay us. We want to work with you. We want to help you do this, and we're really excited about it. So I want to talk a little bit about a few people that have worked with us. Deborah is up in Utah. She said, I absolutely recommend this program. These people really are invested in your success. If you have a vision of how you want to make a difference in your community, this is it. Danita said, I can't even express adequately how I love Microschool Solutions. I went from being so afraid and so nervous to opening my microschool. Their belief in me really helped me see my dream was not just a possibility, but a reality. I actually just was on a call with Danita, kind of talking about what she has going on. And then something happened with my picture from Ainav. She's in Costa Rica. We just helped her. She opened in January, and she had this really adorable picture of her face and her son's face as a tiger. But we helped her in a kind of fast-tracked way. She got in touch with us in December and opened in January, and we did everything we could, and she's now running her microschool. And then my favorite thing, probably the favorite description I have for how somebody has described what we do. This is Jasmine. She's outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Creation Acre is the name of her school. She said, if I gave birth to my Microschool Solutions was my midwife. And I absolutely love that. I love being in that role for people that have this dream that they want to bring to fruition. So one of the things that we'll do, I'm going to share when I send this email out with this recording, I'll share the link to a Microschool dream conversation. So basically that's 30 minutes with me where you talk about your dream. I'm also going to send out the application. So like I said, the application is open now. And you might want to talk to me before you fill out the application. I will say the application asks some really personal questions, and would love to invite you to just dig in, be really honest with yourself and with us about what it is you want and where you are. The next step will be an interview with me. If you decide you want to have a dream conversation before you fill out the application, you won't then have an additional call. That will be your interview. We just want to make sure that what we have to offer matches what it is that you need. And I'm really excited. So I think that's it. I think that's our last. Yeah. I'm hopeful to see many of you in my calendar. I would love to help you start a micro school in the fall, or anytime, actually. And I'm just grateful that you have taken the time to get all the way to the end of this. Had a couple of technical hiccups, but hopefully it all made sense, and I hope to hear from you. Thanks.